Hello everyone, I'm Chrissy Regan and I'm joined today by my wonderful Ukrainian friend Anna Trofimovich. Hi Anna.
Hi Chrissy.
So you and I have already joked that I've dressed up for the occasion. I'm wearing my Ukrainian top, my Ukrainian badge, and I have here my Ukrainian vase from Kiev. So I'm as Ukrainian as I can possibly be on Easter Sunday in Australia. How are you feeling in Krakow?
I feel good now. It changes all the time. I can't say that I feel good all the time. It depends on the news. It depends on many reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel definitely better than a month and a half ago.
So you and I have known each other for 10 years. And prior to starting this call, we were looking at some photos of us in the olden days when we were younger, before we had babies. less wrinkles and less gray hairs on our head.
Christy, I would like to make a compliment.
Go on.
I look at you and you look better than 10 years ago.
I know, I do. I was looking at photos of myself recently from 10 years ago, and I certainly know I look a lot healthier, that's for sure.
Yes, so, happier and healthier, and maybe because of wellness.
Perhaps. So when you and I have kept in contact for the last 10 years, but we've also worked together as recently as 2018. So we've had a lot of interaction with each other over the last decade and spent a lot of time together. So for me, prior to the invasion, I was looking at all of that military buildup around the border and starting to panic for all my friends in Ukraine, and they're dotted all over the place. And you were one of the first people I reached out to say, hey, Anna, what's going on? Are you staying or are you going? You need to think about leaving. And you said, no, I'm staying because you're from Kiev and your work is there, your life is there. And indeed, you were there with your 8-year-old son, Siva. So, it was really only after about 8 days of intense bombing that you made the decision to, let's say, run. And you made it to Krakow, where you've been helped by our wonderful friends there. So do you want to tell me a little bit how you've been looking after your well-being over the past 6 weeks? Because you've been through a lot, obviously.
Well, here in Krakow, or yeah,
just generally, like what you've done to keep yourself sane, to still be a mum. What I've been reflecting on is, a lot of the refugee women, they make it to safety and then they're safe. Their adrenaline has got them to safety, and then they're left with that, like you talked about, that delirious walking around in the cloud. What am I doing? What am I doing? So, how long did the cloud last for you?
I had this cloud, to tell the truth, but at the same time, I realized very clearly why I moved, why I flee, and what is the reason. And the reason is my son, and that I need to take care of him, to find a good school. Actually, we changed public school to Montessori school. And I made really a quick decision to do that because Seva is super active boy, and I really appreciate help from Poland, and the schools, they are really open. All public schools are open, but I felt that Seva doesn't suit so much that like let's say that he in Kiev, in Ukraine, he is the 3rd class schoolboy. Here in Poland, he was invited, and that is the system. and we couldn't change that in the public school. He was in the 2nd grade.
So he went
And
up down a level.
yes, yes, and let's say that he was simply bored, because there is a big difference, and he was bored and he became naughty because he was super active and naughty because he was bored. So that is why I made a really quick decision to move to change the approach, because Montessori has absolutely different approach, and for me at that very moment, I don't care about studies. I care about his mental,
social, emotional,
yes, safety.
Yes.
Yes, and I cared a lot about socializing, and I cared a lot, let's say, about my personal, like when he was in public school, I was worried a lot. And when we changed to Montessori, I was 100% sure that everything is okay. So for me, that was really important. To be sure that he not to worry about him being at school. So
you must feel very blessed that kind of some of that stuff fell into place for you when there is so many other people less fortunate at this time. So, how do you count your blessings on a daily basis?
There are so many barriers for Ukrainians to cross the border, like language. Yes. Many Ukrainians do not travel a lot. All of these is a kind of a barrier. And yes, barrier. And I'm not this type. Yes, I didn't have any of these issues, let's say, or concerns, because I traveled a lot. I speak the languages, and I reflected on the school issue, and I was thinking back there in Ukraine, probably it would have taken me much more time to change the school for my son. But here in Krakow, it was in a minute. There are some complaints about my son there. I need to change it for him and to feel myself better, to make him feel better. So it was my decision. I never asked any help. I just opened the Google map, found the first school that I would thought that it would be better for him, called them immediately, and next day I was meeting with the director of the school, and I'm helping the school now, this Montessori school, with Ukrainian kids. I am doing speaking clubs for them, English speaking clubs, and I am mentoring, mediating for Ukrainian children to integrate to the class, to the back to normal, let's say. Yes.
And what does the life look like for an average refugee woman on the street in Krakow right now? What are you seeing that you can share with us?
It depends on many things. So I wouldn't. That depends on, again, language skills, on how easily mom, Ukrainian woman can integrate. What is the financial background.
Mhm.
Did they move with money,
Yes.
having some, I don't know, financial support, or without any financial support? So many factors that I do not have the common answer for that.
For weeks I saw. Sorry, go on. For weeks I saw.
Okay, sorry, you continue.
Well, for weeks I saw the train station in Krakow just absolutely crowded with people, and it just looked like a huge mess. Does it still look messy in parts of Krakow now, like that?
We've been there like a week ago, saying goodbye to my sister, who is in Lublin now with her 3 kids.
Mhm.
It was not crowded at all.
Okay.
But it depends on what's the current situation in Ukraine.
Mhm.
When I accompanied Matt and Ethan to border in Medica,
Mhm.
there were airstrikes in Lviv, 2 airstrikes.
Mhm. Yes.
And they expected another wave of Ukrainians
Mhm.
next day,
Mhm.
the next day after that. So it depends pretty much on the current situation, news, and
Mhm.
from Ukraine, let's say.
Mhm.
So
because it's showing that the border crossing that leads to Krakow has had 2.7 million refugees. There's a new map showing the numbers that have crossed in all the different directions leading out of Ukraine, and leading to Krakow is around 2.7 million. Does it feel like there's still 2.7 million people hanging around Krakow, or do you think that they've dispersed a lot?
I don't know the statistics around Krakow. I've heard that there are 200,000 Ukrainians in Krakow.
Mhm.
Around Krakow, I don't know. And I've heard the statistics about Poland altogether, but it was like a week ago, and it changed a lot because people either trying to relocate, or I don't know, or coming back to Ukraine. It changed all the time, let's say. It is changing. It's not stable.
Well, I have a friend that went from Bratislava to Krakow. She stayed there a week, and then she went to Romania, to Bucharest, and now she's gone to Bulgaria because she can't find a place to stay for any longer than a really short period of time. And the challenge at the moment is there's a lot of homeless people essentially trying to find apartments or homes for 3 months, 6 months, nobody knows. And so there's so much uncertainty for people, and there's, in a way, people are having to be a little bit like gypsies, keeping moving and moving and moving. Do you feel that too?
Yes, they totally, it's true. They try to find a better place. And it also depends, maybe they have friends, relatives, friends of the friends who can help to accommodate them, who can help them anyway. And they are trying, let's say that a lot of people stay in Poland to be as close as possible to Ukraine. When I first came to Krakow, better to say, the first days, I wasn't sure myself if I will stay here or not. I wasn't sure about my plans neither. So, but eventually, in a week, I've made up the decision that I stay. Again, if I am alone, probably I would prefer to move to the country where I speak the language, English or Spanish, or where I could find a job, because in Krakow it's too complicated now. It's not easy to find a job. Competition. Yeah. So, but I've made up the decision to stay because of Seva. For him to be stable, not to move, not to move further, but just to give him this with the school change, to give him some time to stable time, let's say. No moving, no rushing, no packing, just some time of stability.
Yeah. So what does refugee Anna do all day then? I know that you didn't actually claim refugee status because you had a bit of a stigma about being a refugee. Do you still feel like that?
I don't mind the term refugee. Some people find it offensive. I don't know why. They prefer to call themselves relocated or whatever, different terms. I don't mind the term refugee, but at the same time, I never registered myself as a refugee. Let's say I moved the border, like from Ukraine to Poland on the 8th of March. I had breakfast in Ukraine and late lunch in Poland already. But from that time, I never even registered myself here before Friday. So this Friday, I registered myself here in Poland.
Okay.
So
that this is where you're based, not that you're claiming refugee status, just to say this is where you're living at the moment.
Yes, exactly. But I'm not planning to register myself as a refugee. Just I'm having this ID code, which is called PASEL here. It makes easier for Seva and for me, like to have medical support, other things like this.
And what about your health personally? Do you feel well, or do you feel that your health has suffered as a result of what you've been going through the last few months?
Good question.
Come on, we're middle-aged women, you can be honest.
It was not easy to overcome, and I can't say that I overcame this, and I'm not sure that I will be able to cope with this in future. Let's say.
Like
but
PTSD,
what is,
you mean? Do you feel that you might have PTSD?
Let's say with when we first saw the pictures from Bucha, from Irpin, I took a day just to be speechless, to cry, to stand in the shower and to cry, I took Seva to school and was wandering around the city just with my phone switched off, let's say. And I still can't believe, cannot accept that this is happening and this is the reality. And to tell the truth, Chrissy, I felt myself much more better sitting there in the shelter than sometimes here in Krakow with the peaceful sky above me.
Mm-hmm.
I can't explain this phenomena, but it's happening to me from time to time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And let's say again, maybe psychologists can explain me, but I can't now.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, what helps me a lot when I started to act and to do something.
Mm-hmm.
I've started a Facebook group,
Mm-hmm.
Children from Ukraine
Mm-hmm.
in Krakow.
Mm-hmm.
And we've arranged 2 events already. The next one is tomorrow, the 3rd one, and the 4th one is after tomorrow. So we had a reading club. We read Ukrainian book of Ivan Franko, like Ukrainian prominent writer, who was taken to the prison on his days because he wrote in Ukrainian. And his book, Colored Fox, we made a great event of that. We read Ukrainian, we made fun, we hugged a lot, we smiled a lot, and it was like a positive event, you know, like
Yes. The
when
pictures were beautiful, and you could see it was a really wonderful experience for people.
We changed the subject, and it was positive for us, you know. And I think it is very important to make some positive events, occasions, to unite, to bring Ukrainians together. That is the point. And we are focused, I'm focused on children, but what I've mentioned yesterday, we had a guided tour to Rynek Underground, to the Underground Museum of Krakow for Ukrainian children. We let moms to go and to have their coffee. And we took their children, took care of them, arranged the guided tour for them, yes. When we finished the tour, I saw the moms going together, coming back together, speaking to each other, sharing some information with each other. So let's say we are focused, I'm focused to help Ukrainian children here in Krakow, to socialize, to meet, because, you know, okay, I will finish this one. So I'm focused to Ukrainian children, but at the same time, I can see that it also helps Ukrainian moms to meet each other, to talk to each other, to, you know, to overcome that barrier to speak to another Ukrainian, because it was a kind of obstacle as well. And psychologically, I was explained by someone that it is because we have nothing to talk with each other except the war, except this negative. But when we bring Ukrainian moms together and we take care of their children, they could switch this subject, the war subject, and talk to each other about, well, talk about the children, talk about the future, talk about the book that we read, talk about the tour. So we changed this negative subject for them. So it's really, I feel that it's really important.
Yeah, it's well, like,
that helps me to feel better, to
mm,
feel much more better. And let's say for me, it's back to normal.
mhm,
When I'm in the middle of something,
mhm,
I'm running the event.
mhm.
I feel myself better. I felt that with the very first reading club that we had. So I emotionally, I flied back home.
Mhm. That's good. Yeah, that was what you and I spoke about, that kind of as soon as you arrived in Krakow, so 4 weeks ago. But I think for me as well, the realization that so many women and children were leaving their homes, and the women would be suffering with so many physical, emotional, social, mental. I understand all the barriers because I've been to Poland, I've been to Ukraine. I understand more what the general population of Ukraine is like, as opposed to people like you who are obviously multilingual and you can assimilate easier in different ways. All of those obstacles that those women have faced, and not to mention that they couldn't really take anything with them. So what did you bring with you? What were the few small things you managed to bring from home? Other than your child, which is the most precious thing.
The refugee suitcase. Oh my God, how many things I miss. I've been missing my clothes, my perfume, my mascara.
Mascara, makeup.
Mascara, yes, makeup, yes. My let's say sometimes it sounds really stupid. But how can you miss these things? But you actually, why all my inspiration and everything that I do is for Seva. And when he mentioned that I miss Ukrainian book, I miss Ukrainian books, that refugee suitcase, it's not a space for a book, really.
No.
So we didn't take any book.
So where did you get the books that you have now? Did you find them in Krakow, or did you have them sent over?
I found them in Krakow. When Seva mentioned that he missed a book, I decided to find a place where we can find Ukrainian book. And that was a cafe, like a small sweet place, cafe and the bookshop at the same time, coffee shop and the bookshop at the same time. And they have a bookshelf with Ukrainian books, because the coffee shop was founded by Ukrainians. It's called Niche. And we made our first event there for Ukrainian children. And well, yes, we found Harry Potter books for Seva there. Yeah, Seva can show. So yeah, that just, everything that I do now for Ukrainian children here in Krakow, it's let's say it is inspired by Seva. He says that I miss a book. We arrange reading club.
Yeah.
He says I miss the table games, board games.
Yes.
We will arrange the board games.
Yes, but you remember, you and I talked about that. We said, kids need instruments, they need games, they need puzzles, they need books, because again, I saw so much footage and photos of the women in the shelters, or not in the shelters, but in the refugee centers, where they were sleeping on stretchers, and they were just lying there with nothing, and the kids had nothing, and the mothers had nothing. And I thought, there's nothing for them to do other than lie there or sit there and think about where they've come from. There's no distraction. So if we can provide instruments, if we can provide coloring books, if we can provide reading books, it gives people an opportunity to be distracted, to have other things to think about, to hope and to wonder and to dream and to do all those things that people can do when they're free. So it's interesting, isn't it, that your son is your gentle reminder for that as well.
Exactly. And like I'm following, like, let's say he's helping me to understand the needs. I'm following his needs to help the others, to help other children. I think that is pretty much common. And what is, you've asked me about the needs of Ukrainian women. I would say that maybe the first need is to find a place for overnight, where to sleep.
Yeah.
Next is to eat soup.
Yeah.
Just to have this soup, yes. But the next one is to meet someone like someone who would understand the same. So that is why my point is to bring like Ukrainians together, but to change the subject for them. To try not to speak about war, but to speak, to be positive, even in these circumstances.
Yes, I understand. And I have a friend who's still trapped in Kherson with her family. And she says the thing she misses the most is bananas. She said bananas feels like such a luxury and it's such a silly thing. But when people ask her how she is, she thinks of a banana. And she just wants to say, if I had a banana. And you can laugh about it because it's random. But I said, I will bake you banana cake and send it to you because there's nowhere in Ukraine to buy bananas right now. So it would be, I think every single person would have that little thing that they missed, right?
Yeah. And we really, to tell the truth, we in Kyiv, Sever just started wearing the glasses. We found a really good eye doctor. And here I need to make this research and to find a good eye doctor to continue. So there are so many things that that I miss. I miss my Seva's eye doctor, really. I miss
your apartment.
Yes, I miss people. I miss community. I miss Seva's teacher. I miss it's more about, I miss places. I miss Golden Gate in Kyiv. I miss St. Sophia Cathedral. I miss touring. I miss my people and my community. That is why I try to make a community here. What I'm doing here, I try to find my people, and somehow at this moment, I can say that somehow I'm lucky to have them, to meet them on my way. My people,
you're very good at
bringing here.
You're good at bringing people together, and you're also good at making people feel welcome and cared for. So your natural skills and abilities, you're just using them in a different place for now, you know?
Yes. Yeah, I feel the same. I feel that is one of my superpowers. You know, we say that, what is your superpower? I'm Ukrainian. So I can totally feel that.
Mhm. What do you want to tell some people in Australia right now? What would you like me to share with people for you?
Chrissy, I just want to share my story, my personal story. And I'm alive because I wasn't there.
Mhm.
In Bucha, in Irpin. The urgent need is in Ukraine.
Mhm.
The best people are dying now,
Mhm.
our best people. And it is not, my message is that it is not the problem, the war that is in process now. It's a war that started centuries ago. And what we are doing now, we are identifying ourselves as a nation. We have the right to be independent and to be free. Sorry for these tears, but
I'm trying not to cry, so I'm sorry. Keep going. I'm crying with you.
but I allow myself now these moments of weakness. It helps me a lot. My weakness is my power as well. Сєва, принеси мені хустинки, будь ласка. Я сам пишу перше. Дякую. So, півгодинки. Іди, пішли. Ні, не можна. So, yes. It is what Ukraine is doing now, is identifying itself as a nation, as a free, independent nation. And for me, it's very personal, and I am deeply sad, weak, and at the same time happy now that we are doing this.
Mhm.
I can't explain that, but it's a problem of centuries that we should solve, and this is a moment.
Mhm.
This is a moment to tell the world what is Ukraine, and to let Ukraine to tell its story, because it was written by Peter the Great, rewritten so many times through our history
Mhm.
by the Russians.
So next Sunday, the 24th of April, is Orthodox Easter.
Yes.
We're hoping to do a few special things to make Ukrainian children feel some joy in Krakow. Can you tell me what you're thinking of doing?
As I've mentioned, we started this group, and we have people who visited our first event, our second event, and as I can see, that they are subscribing for our next event. So we are doing the right thing. We are making a community here.
Mhm.
We are bringing Ukrainians together.
Mhm.
And of course, for Easter holidays, as my son says, that how could we celebrate Easter without my dad, without my grandma?
Mhm.
So we will feel
Mhm.
that we are that we are far from our families, and that is why we were planning to make a picnic, Easter picnic, to bring like everything that we can bring, or if we find some support, maybe we will prepare some gifts for everybody. But the weather, as we can see, it will be rainy. So now we are trying to find the place where we can arrange, and if it's not rain, a good area around. So we are in process. We are trying to arrange this Easter, let's say, picnic, but we are trying to do it in the right way because the weather will be rainy. So, as the forecast says, but we are trying to find the right place to make an event for that. To bring Ukrainians together, Ukrainian moms with the children, and maybe to arrange Easter workshops, like not painting eggs, but maybe making eggs of paper, of like origami, or making like it should be like a common activities,
coloring and different things like that.
Yeah.
Well, I can't think of anything to say to you that would make you obviously feel better, other than to say that I'm glad you're safe. And I'm glad you're fulfilling your purpose to help other people, which is always what you've been good at anyway.
Thank you.
And I'm grateful that your son is with you. And also, little things like perfume and mascara might seem like luxuries, but sometimes they might also be necessities to give a woman some sense of luxury, and to feel special. So it's not silly to think about those things. Thanks for taking the time to chat with me. I want to share this with people in Australia so they can hear a little bit more about some people that we know personally that we've been able to reach out to. And we want to support as many women and children as we can with whatever they need.
Thank you, Chrissy. Thank you for your support. And you're awesome. Your support is incredible, and from the first days, it's really good to know that you have someone to text, to type, that I'm going, I'm running, and this is really important. You feel safer this time.
Yeah, I had a lot of texts running concurrently saying, keep running, don't stop, just keep running. And I still feel like that now. But, like you said, every day is kind of different and there's an ebb and a flow. And I feel there's another huge need on its way. And this is my concern too. Bucha and Irpin are just two cities. There's many more cities yet to be freed. And the trauma and the suffering will be ongoing. And I'm sending you all my love for that, because I know you're going to have many more dark days and hours ahead.
Seva is doing his thing now. You can see that. Oh my God.
It's okay.
Trying to use the moment,
It's fine. He's fine.
And to find some hidden place, probably, he found a chocolate.
Children can smell chocolate.
Exactly.
Okay, my love, get some, have a nice Sunday, rest of it, Sunday afternoon in Krakow. Please take some time to have a coffee for me in the town square. Cheers your coffee to me. It's my favorite town square in Europe. I miss it very much. I'm there with you in spirit, and I will talk to you again soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for everything you are doing and you've done. Thank you.
Doesn't feel like enough.
Chrissy, let me mention that probably if I don't have you, I never contacted any organization. The moment when I made up the decision to run, I know the right person to text about that, you know. I would never reach any organization, any Red Cross, let's say. I just needed one person that would support me. And that was you. Thank you very much. And yes, I knew that you would type to Ola, you would type to Aga, yes, thank you. That is very important to have this one person.
Oh, okay. Everyone needs one person.
Everyone needs. Thank you.
Well, if I help you, you can help someone else. That's how I feel. Regardless of what you think you need and you don't need, it's if I help you, you can help one person.
It's spreading, yes. And I feel so much power now. I feel that.
Good. Yes, good. When Ola asked me how I can support Ukrainians from my bedroom in Townsville, I said, because I'm powered by 38 million Polish people, so I can do it. You know, I have the power of my Polish friends behind me who are able to help me support. I can't do it on my own, obviously. I'm like the postman, but I'm like the telegram wire. Anyway,
okay.
You take care.
Chrissy.
Very big love,
Thank you.
and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Chrissy.